Okay, so I think we should probably begin with what is the AOCA Fellowship, right? So I got some PowerPoint slides. Please bear with me. I know artists don't really like PowerPoint that much. I'm one of them, but I figured it would probably be a little helpful if I shared this information in multiple ways for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for you. So there's a little overview that I've been sharing with people, artists and organizations alike. Just to kind of talk about this fellowship, what it's about, what it is, why we're even doing this thing in the first place. So, to give you a little background on this, there was a study conducted by Harvard Foundation for Public Giving that pretty much assessed how resources are rolled out throughout the city of Hartford and the region with regards to the arts and how much access there is. And, statistics have proven that what many of us feel is correct. There's not enough resources for artists of color. There's not enough access to venues and opportunities for us. And so this fellowship is a product of that study. Another part of that study, well, another thing that came from that study is an advisory group called the Artists of Color Unite. That's an advisory council for the Hartford Foundation. And they basically advise the foundation on how to distribute funds for special projects in the arts sector. So Artists of Color Accelerate is one of two big projects. There's also the Independent Artist Fund, which is run through the Free Center. And then there's this, and then there were a few other grants, some smaller projects that were funded independently through AOCU. And so what our mission is basically to, we're a bridge building vehicle of cultural ambassadorship, as it says here in these fancy words in our mission. Our job as a fellowship is to provide you with some professional development, some business development, some personal development opportunities, and connect you with some of these organizations that may not have historically been as good as we need them to be with connecting with artists of color. Some of them do a great job. Some of them need improvement. And all of them have committed to doing exactly that, improving upon what we think is a major issue here in Greater Hartford with regards to the arts sector. Our vision is to make sure that Hartford is recognized as that community that produces and exports cutting edge cultural arts. Hartford is not just a place that's in between New York and Boston. We hear it all the time, but there are literally hundreds of artists that reside and work in this region. There are a lot of artists of color out here. There are a lot of people who deserve an opportunity to collaborate with organizations like the Bushnell or Wadsworth Athenaeum or the other host organizations that we have on our roster. And so I'm happy to be in a position to present this to folks. And just some success factors here. There needs to be a social impact and a business impact. We want you to grow as art businesses and as art business people. We also want to improve, the level of visibility that you get and improve the level of advocacy that happens amongst these organizations for artists of color. This is a simple timeline of what the program actually looks like. So as you can see, we've already started, right? You're the kind of almost the third step in the process here. So it begins with updating our website, making sure that our information is relatively accurate, so that when I send you to it, you actually see something that is current. Starting the application process, that actually began on, I think I launched the application on November 17th. So I wanted to give a month for folks to apply and to, take some time with this application and if they had any questions, of course, reach out to me, reach out through the website, or if you know me, you can always contact me directly. I'm always sharing information, and I got no problem having conversations with people about things that will help them move forward. So with regards to the selection process, we want to close out the applications on the 17th of this month And that's important because we have a limited amount of time to select the artists, let them know that they've been selected, and then begin the program. So by mid-January, I would actually like to have all of the final selected artists notified about participating in the program, so this way they can plan to attend our orientation and begin the business courses, which are set to begin at the end of January or early February. There is a little flexibility in the scheduling there. If I feel like we need to push things back a little bit, we might. There's a few things that need to happen before we actually announce who has been selected. So you'll already be kind of in the program and getting used to the schedule. It will be about a month in when we make the final announcements. The program itself is designed to be for 6 months only. The artists and their host organization that you'll be matched with, you'll be working on a project during those 6 months, or planning a project, depending on how schedules align. So you actually have 6 months to a year after completing the program to execute whatever project or initiative or program it was that you planned out with your host organization. So there's not a lot of pressure for you to get it done within those 6 months, because we understand that these organizations already have schedules and their calendars are released usually a year in advance. So we want to make sure that there's enough time to work around that. So the expectation is at least within a year, you can have that thing that you've planned happen. There'll be a closing ceremony to celebrate the conclusion of the second cohort of the program in the end of July. And then that time between July and September, that's when I'll be, basically putting my feet to the ground again, trying to renew these partnerships that we have with the folks who helped us make this thing happen. Making sure that I'm in good with the funder, having those conversations, reporting out on the things that happen, talking about the glads and sads, the ups and downs of the program and what we need to improve, what we fixed, and what needs to stay the same. And then we reapply for funding again in the fall of 2023. And so this is a brief look at the curriculum. So like I said, it's business development and personal development. So we're going over things like managing your finances and how to handle your taxes as an artist. There's some business coaching that you'll be getting in addition to the business courses. We have a partnership with the University of Hartford's Entrepreneurial Center. They have actually worked with me to develop a curriculum that they can work on with the fellows specifically. So it'll just be y'all in there, or a representative of the host organization. We did open this up to them because, they're participants in the program as well too. So it's all good. Stuff like how to pitch your projects, business best practices, how to market and promote yourself. We have a person who will give a great presentation on building partnerships with funders. So I'm looking forward to presenting him again. Did a great job last year with us, and his approach to interacting with funders and sponsors is a little different than what I'm used to hearing. He talks about building collaborative partnerships and working together with them versus, hey, give me money. Right. So I'm looking forward to that discussion. Contracts and intellectual property. Last year, we had an IP lawyer actually talk to us about how to manage your intellectual property, copyrights, licensing, how to do appropriate contracts. We also had a few people in the music industry come and talk about how that business works. And then on the personal development side, there's some community building. So we want to make sure that we're getting people together, and it's not always all business. So there's going to be some social events that happen throughout those 6 months that you're working in this program, to get people together, get to know one another, kind of, build on ideas that you may have, brainstorm ideas to collaborate amongst yourselves, getting the organizations talking, making sure that the artists are talking and in that same conversation. And so trying to bridge some of these gaps. The mentorship with past fellows. So I've asked the other fellows from cohort 1 to make themselves available to give advice as needed. to cohort 2 fellows. I mean, we've all been through this process. This is something that, it's a shared experience. And in the event that you run into a situation where you might need some help with navigating an obstacle with an organization, it'd be cool to link you with the fellow who worked with that organization in the past to kind of talk about how to get through that. In connecting with resources for leadership development, sometimes people like myself will toe the line between arts administrator and working artist, and you get yourself involved in different projects, and you're around folks who are, I guess, considered to be leaders in the business or leaders in the community, and they go through leadership development programs. Why can't we? So kind of leveling the playing field here. And then there's a relationship building workshop, and we talk about self-care as a business practice and so on and so forth. It's just a list of expected outcomes from the program. We wanted to see you grow. We want to see you develop as not only just as people, but as business people, right? Art is a business. If you're doing it to make money, that's the game you're playing. We want to have a deeper connection between the arts sector and all of the participants in this program. Art sector, meaning those art institutions. We want them to know who you are. We want them to reach out to you after this program and still work with you. Success to me is a continued relationship with the organizations that you're working with. And in the interest of time, I'll give you some things to remember here, and then we can just open up to the questions and answers. 6-month program, it is a paid opportunity. So everybody gets a stipend. You will be paid for your time. The expected commitment is 4 to 6 hours per week. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to have to spend 4 to 6 hours every week on this program. Just looking at the number of classes that you may have and taking into account the meetings that you might have with your host organization, we thought that that would probably be around the range of commitment that we would need from fellows participating. I can't give you the exact dollar amount now. But I will say it is a generous stipend. And if you are selected, you will get the exact number. But it does equal a little over $30 an hour for your time. So, calculate that over 6 months and you'll probably get close to what folks will actually be making. And the program provides tools and coaching that will assist the artists with developing your business. So the same organization that is giving you the business classes is also going to be giving you business coaching. And that's done in group coaching sessions. So the first half is focusing on the learning. The second half is the applying of that knowledge. Okay. So I'm stopping the sharing now, and now we can get into the Q&A. So this is intended to be a conversation, so I just wanted to, give y'all a brief overview, and I'm just making myself available to you all because I know there were some questions. I've seen the comments on some of the posts about the application process and stuff, so I want to make sure you have an opportunity to be informed. LaShawn, you got a question?
Yes, I just wanted to know, what times do the classes usually happen? Is it like during the day or?
This will be an evening thing. So we understand folks have jobs. So I'm not trying to make y'all do anything that would be too, off the beaten path, I guess. I worked a full-time job when I was in the program myself, and I was in another program. So folks are busy. You all have schedules that you have to keep in mind when you're doing this. So we're keeping it in the beginning of the week, preferably a Monday or Tuesday. Because with performing artists, they have gigs, they have rehearsals and all of that stuff. So, just thinking about when folks like to go out and do stuff like see people perform, we want to do the Monday, Tuesday, maybe a Wednesday, depending on the schedule for our master classes. But right now it's Monday, Tuesdays. And we're looking at starting probably around 6 o'clock, and we're trying to keep it at 90 minutes. And, we'll go to 2 hours only if the discussion is really good.
Thank you. And they're in person?
Some are going to be in person and some are going to be virtual. So depending on who the selected artists are, that's how I'm going to choose the master classes. I want to make sure that those presentations are relevant to the audience. So there are going to probably be some people who are located out of state. We ain't paying people to travel to speak for 90 minutes. So we will have that virtual. If the people are local, everything will be on site at the 224 EcoSpace. All right, Drina.
I just wanted to ask you, what did you get out of the program, and what would you see as maybe one or two of the main benefits for an unestablished artist?
So the first answer, what I got out of the program was it was really the opportunity to build that relationship with the organization I was paired with. So I was paired with the Amistad Center at Wadsworth Atheneum. So by default, it was actually a dual fellowship. I was connected to both organizations. At that time, I had something that was kind of in the works with Wadsworth. So being in the fellowship really helped push that forward. And now I'm on a committee at the Wadsworth Atheneum. I've done some projects with the Amistad Center as well. And they keep in touch. So I've been asked to actually be on a kind of an advisory council for one of their exhibits that are coming up in 2024. So that relationship that I got worked out for me. We didn't necessarily have a solid project, and I'll be honest, that's really on me because I was doing too much. You might remember I said earlier that I was in another program at the same time. I was in this Leadership Greater Hartford program called Quest, which is amazing if y'all have a chance to be a part of that. And that was through my job. I didn't even know there was an AOCA happening at the time I joined that program, and it was pretty far gone. So I had to stick, I stuck with that commitment. Thank God that I did. But it wasn't the easiest scheduling wise with working with AOCA and fulfilling some of the expectations with that. So my advice to anyone going into this is, be mindful of how much time you really have and what you have the capacity to do. You don't want to overcommit yourself. This is a great opportunity. So my advice is to make the time for it. But if you're planning to participate in any type of program like this, make sure that once you know that you've been selected and accepted into something and the decision is made for you to move forward, you kind of lighten up the load a little bit on the things that you're doing, because you don't want to miss out on an opportunity to really build a strong relationship with that organization, because later on down the line, if everything goes well, they want to keep working with you. Like, these folks are not in this program because they just want to do a thing to check off a box. They actually are looking for collaboration, and that's what I like about it. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of your question? I started babbling.
It's all good. I was listening and I appreciate it. And what do you think would be some of the top things like unestablished artists to get out of the program?
So an unestablished artist. I think that this is a program for people who want to level up, right? So you may be involved in a number of projects. You may have accomplished a few things, and you might be doing some stuff out in the community, but you're not on the right people's radar. This is that opportunity to get yourself on not one, but 10 organizations' radar. Just because you're paired with one organization doesn't mean you don't have the potential to work with one of the others in the future. They're going to know who you are. They're going to be checking for you later because they're going to remember this experience that they had doing this program. So if you're worried about being unestablished, whatever unestablished means, I'm poking a little fun at you, Drina, because I know you.
I was about to say,
you're,
you know what I mean by
you're certainly established. I know this because we've collaborated. Um, I think this is a great chance to kind of show what you're made of and to challenge yourself a bit and to look beyond the thing that you're just known for and maybe find other ways to build upon the skills that you have and maybe gain a few more. You might exercise some muscles you didn't know you had. And is it Narissa or Narisia? Am I saying your name wrong? You're on mute.
It is Narisia.
Narisia, I'm sorry.
It's okay. What kind of artists have you guys worked with in the past? Like, what, I guess, genre or medium? What did they do?
I'm so glad you asked that question because a lot of people assume that this is just a visual arts program. And in our last group of fellows, we had visual artists. I'm a visual artist, but we also had performing artists. We had spoken word. We had a writer, a guy who wrote 2 books and does some content creation. He also does podcasts and stuff like that. Phenomenally talented guy. His name is Patrick Williams. I convinced him one time to dip into his visual arts bag a little bit. So you can put visual artists on his list of hats that he can wear. We also had, I said, a playwright. We had a dancer. And we had somebody who does body painting, but she also does like theater around her body painting. She creates a full production out of it. It's not just painting the people. So there's a whole storyline, there's a script, there's a whole layout of how these things, so it really multiple genres. We even had an opera singer in the last group. And I don't know too many Black opera singers, so I thought that was pretty dope. So it really is a wide variety of arts that are represented in this group. And I want people to think outside the box. I want the artists to think outside the box in terms of what they bring to the table and how they can contribute to the organizations. But I've also had this same conversation with the hosts. Just because you're a theater doesn't mean you can't host a visual artist, right? Theater needs set design just as much as they need actors and actresses. They need people who know how to work lights. They need people who know sound. One theater that we're working with has a gallery space that needs a curator. So there's plenty of opportunity here. I encourage anyone who's into fashion design to also consider this because we actually have, I think, 3 theaters. Fashion design translates into costume design. Right? So there are things that folks may not have thought about that could be very helpful for these organizations, could be helpful for you to kind of stretch yourself a little bit. I'm not sure what art genre you're in, but whatever it is, I encourage you to participate, apply.
I love this. I do fashion design and I'm also very interested in costume.
Oh, so I'm talking to the right person.
So yeah, that's when you said that I got really excited.
Yeah.
So yay. Okay, thank you for answering.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Mikhail and Tiana.
How you doing, Dre?
What's going on, brother?
Quick question. I apologize if this was probably answered already.
It's all good.
What, in terms of your vision or like what you've seen since you've been a part of the program, where do you see it going as in terms of like what other opportunities you feel like are possible from the expansion of this foundation in the program?
I might be tooting my own horn here, but
go ahead.
I think with the improvements to this program and the building up from the foundation that was laid for me, I think this has the possibility to be a national model. Whether it spreads to be a nationwide program hosted here in Hartford or it's benchmarked and reproduced somewhere else, I think we have something very powerful here. I can't take credit for the program. It wasn't my idea. But what I can take credit for is how good or bad this next cohort does. So I'm hoping that it does really well, because that means we could potentially get more funding, which means we could get master classes, for example, with higher profile presenters because we could afford to pay them. Or we could bring in resources that we just may not have access to because we don't have enough funding for it. Now, don't get me wrong, there's actually a lot of money being spent on this program now, but the sky is really the limit with something like this. I think that what Hartford has going on right now through this program, we could get a lot of very good attention from this, but we could also get a lot of interest from folks who want to collaborate in a number of different ways. You know, just imagine some arts organization somewhere in, I don't know, Miami, right? Just for the sake of naming a place. Imagine they find out about AOCA and they want to somehow collaborate with fellows who have participated in this, or in Philly or something like that. What if a theater in New York is looking for people to work with, and somebody that is connected to that organization was a presenter and brought you up? Like, a number of different things can happen from this. So it's good to build this network. There's 10 people already, there's 10 organizations. After this cohort, there's going to be 20 people. And oh, by the way, I've recruited some more organizations. So not all of the same ones as last year, most of them, but not all of them, because I wanted to bring in some new ideas. I wanted to bring in a few more folks to add some input and make this thing better. So I recruited some additional museums. I've recruited another theater. I'm in talks with a few other organizations to give input this year. They might not be able to participate this coming year, but in 2024, if this program continues, they're going to be at the top of my list of people to call on to be a host organization. I just see nothing but growth. Hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Dre. This is Tiana. We're on the same line, but I have a question as well. So as you had mentioned, there's going to be courses on the Mondays and Tuesdays, right? Are those courses going to be specialized, catering to the individuals that are selected, right? Or is it kind of general courses that will help artists? If that question is clear.
They're going to be general business courses. What's cool about the University of Hartford Entrepreneurial Center is they actually work with a lot of artists, and they've had artists on staff. So this isn't going to be like a new type of presentation for them. They kind of know exactly what to do and how to accommodate that audience. So the discussions that you'll have with them may not be the same as what you would have with like somebody who's an executive coach.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like more coaching to be successful as a business artist, right? In order to kind of cater your business in the particular field and really access to more resources to do so.
And a lot of the a lot of business practices that they translate kind of the same across the board, no matter what field you're in. Taxes are taxes, regardless of what business you're in, right? Marketing and promotion is a skill that you're going to need. Understanding your audience is something that you're going to have to get a good grasp on, no matter what business you're in, if you want to be successful and you want people to know about you. So what's unique about it is they're used to presenting to artists, so they know how to word it. They know how to tap into those things that the I guess the non-artist business person might not think about or might not understand the same as we would.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have a question in the chat. So what are you looking for the next cohort? What are you looking for the next cohort to add to the program? What elements or vibe? What I'm looking for is a diverse group of artists, and what I mean by diverse is like diverse in discipline. Just like the first cohort, I went down the list of the types of artists that we had connected through this program, and that was a pretty well-rounded group. I would like to have the same going forward. It's just going to be different people, and you're all going to bring those unique qualities that you have in who you are as a person, as an artist, as a business person, as a visionary, right? Because some of this is having your own vision for who you want to be and what you want to do. As far as the vibe, ambitious would be the top thing. Willing to step outside your comfort zone. You might have to pivot from what you think might happen between you and the organization, because you might have something in mind going in, but it may not work for the organization that you're paired with. So be willing to compromise in some regard, not compromising who you are and what you do, but compromising and making sure that you have a mutually agreed upon project that you can execute. Because this is about collaboration, right? So understanding that, patient, hiccups do happen. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's going to be perfect. I may have added some new things to this. I may have improved a few things, but it ain't perfect. And I'm not going to act like it's going to be. We are all human. Things are going to happen. Sometimes organizations get busy. So your point person might not be available. Be patient with them, just like they're going to have to be patient with you. But really just, be willing to stay the course and do the work, and be open to learning, and commit yourself to participating. That's key. Remember, you are being paid to do this. And like anything else that you get paid for, if you don't show up, you don't get paid, right? That's also part of this. So being committed. Let's see who had their hand up first. Tarishi.
What's up? So you might already answered this already. How is the process? How's the process when it comes to pairing artists with an organization?
Okay, so the first round, let's say I've been using this example. Let's say I had 100 applications to review. There's no way that I can give 100 applications to these organizations and get them all reviewed on time. So we're going to have to go through them, do some kind of preliminary review. It's going to be scored on a rubric based on form, fit, and function. Form being what type of artwork do you do? Fit as in, are you a good fit for any of these organizations? Do we have something that will help you? Function meaning, what's the capability of y'all really working together and building something and getting it done, perhaps within that 6 months to a year after the program, or even within the length of time for the program? What is it that you are looking for in this program? The application actually asks you that. What do you view as success in this program? I've asked the organizations, how do they view success? How do they see themselves helping you as an artist? Just as much as I would like you to answer that question of how you see yourself helping an organization, and what do you think you will get from working with an organization? So those three things: form, fit, function. And based on that score, that's what moves you up in the process. So, best case scenario, I get 100 applications and there's a whole lot for me to review. And then I bring a whole bunch to the past fellows to review, because I want to involve them in the process as well. And then the final group of fellows, I would like to bring more than 10 for the host organizations to review. I don't want it to be an easy decision. In fact, I want it to be a very difficult one, because I want them to really see that Greater Hartford has so much talent within this community here that it's hard to make one choice. and I want them to be so, I guess, engulfed in this selection process and have such an interesting experience with it that they look forward to the next one, so that they might have people in mind next time that they'll be looking for in the next group of applications. Because if you don't make it in, I need you to apply again, right? That level of interest also helps us with getting funding for this. So the final selections will not necessarily be made by the organizations, but it will be a collaborative conversation in which we talk about, what's everybody bringing to the table, and what do we think might be like a really good fit. Catrice, I see you got your hand raised.
Yeah, I don't know if I've read this over and over again when you posted, but is there an age limit for how old the artist can be?
Yes, 21 and older.
Okay.
And the reason why I say 21 and older is this is not like a college program. It's not an internship kind of situation. We want you to have a little bit of work under your belt. The thought is, if you had some professional experience going into this, it might be a little easier for the organizations to connect with you. And Naricia, you're on mute.
You mentioned one of the organization that you were partnered with was the Wadsworth. Are all the organization in Connecticut, or are they like
every one of these organizations is in Greater Hartford?
Okay.
Yeah, so our funder, our primary funder, Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, they only fund projects that are within their jurisdiction, which I believe is about, I think there's like 29 towns and cities in the Greater Hartford region. So every organization has to basically be in this region. And the way that we work this out so that the artists can benefit is the artists who participate in this have to either live in or primarily work in the Greater Hartford area with regards to their art business.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mikhail and Tiana. Y'all are on mute if you're talking.
I think we already asked a question. I forgot to put the hand down. My fault.
No worries.
Oh, but Dre, I'm so proud of you. This sounds amazing, though. This sounds legitimately amazing. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. And I had to, I got to big up Shelly Best, because she, she led the way to launching this thing. And, that's also the person who put me in this position. So thanks to her for trusting me with this. And, hopefully I'll make her proud and I'll make y'all proud by executing this well. Are there any other questions? Any questions about the application? Tarishi? You on mute, bro.
Where can we find the application?
The AOCA.org. I'll put it in the chat. So I've been sending everybody to this website. That is where you'll find even more information on this program. You can actually look up the past fellows. You can look at who taught our master classes last year. You can get to know a little something about the host organizations. I'm actually waiting on some info from the newly recruited hosts. So not all of them are up there, but everybody from last year is. So yeah, the AOCA.org. And of course, if you got any questions whatsoever about this application after today, please reach out to me. I'm approachable. I'm accessible. You can find me on Facebook. It's Dre B Painting. That's how y'all got here, right? But yeah, definitely check out the website. Drina.
I know, first, my apologies for not having my video on. I'm actually on the road, but
No worries.
I know there's a video piece to the application. So do you have any tips or any advice on what you guys are looking for in said video?
You know, I was prepared for that question. I was waiting. For somebody asking about the video, right? So y'all make reels, right? Yeah, you see reels on Instagram and stuff, right? You see how it's like a, just a basic 60-second limit. And if you can make a reel, this is going to be easy for you, right? I get that it sounds like it's going to be something hard, but there are some specific questions on the application that I give you to answer in that video. I actually give you a 90-second limit. And that's really because of the amount of space that the videos might take up. Again, if we got 100 applications, that's a lot of memory being used. That's a lot of space up in the Google Drive there, right? And we also have to review all this stuff. So, basic 60 to 90-second video. You can do this on your phone. It does not have to be like some production. Like we're not looking to get an Emmy here. It's just an intro to who you are, what you do, why you do it, what makes you special. If you want, I can actually share mine.
Yes, please.
I heard a so I knew that was coming too. Good thing I pulled it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share my screen one more time. Y'all, please excuse the hair in this video. I was still growing it out. It wasn't all neat like it is now. It wasn't quite as long. And just so you know, it took me about 2 hours to do this because I was nervous. And even in the video, I'm talking all fast because I was nervous about doing it. So let me just make sure this is okay. There we go. Hello, my name is Andre Rochester, and I'm a Greater Hartford artist. I currently reside in East Hartford. I studied illustration at UConn School of Fine Arts and completed my BA in studio art at Charter Oak State College. I am also a recent graduate of Quinnipiac University, where I received my MS in organizational leadership. I served on the Hartford Commission on Cultural Affairs from 2014 to 2015. I am a current board member at Windsor Arts Center, where I serve as their current vice president, as well as development and governance chairs. And I also serve on curatorial committee. I've been active in the local arts community for 14 years now, focusing mainly on painting acrylic and oil and watercolor. However, I also do pastel, graphite, and charcoal. My work is all about the Black experience, and I use color theory and sometimes text to connect with my viewers so that there's an understanding that we are not alone. It's all about overcoming and getting past obstacles. I'm looking forward to this opportunity to collaborate with other art organizations. Hello, my name is Andre Rochester.
Yeah.
See, and that was like take 25 for me. I didn't quite get it, but I got enough. So it doesn't have to be anything that's like super special. It just has to, give a sense of who you are, what you do. And you're really just kind of sharing a little bit about the person behind the application. We don't have the time to do the interviews for this. So this is just a quick presentation of who am I talking to? Whose info am I reading? Who am I going to probably be working with? So if you're nervous about the video, I understand. I was crazy nervous, but I got through it. And, again, if you can make a reel, you can make an intro video. All right. Trish, you got a question?
Yeah, so I guess I'm just put it out there. It's one of those things that you ask, but you have questions about, but you don't ask.
Mhm.
The CV, right? So there's some folks who are like you, who are lifetime artists that went to school, breathe, wake up, go home, go to sleep. Like that's your thing, right? And it's documented in the circle of your whole entire life. But then there's the artists that like escaped and used it as therapy and did it because they loved it. And it just grew into something that became productive and lucrative. And so the idea of structuring their experience isn't a common practice for them because they don't have to submit that document to get gigs, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what are you looking for on that CV? Is it like, I did open mic at these places? Is it I worked and got paid? Is it unpaid work? What kind of qualifying experience goes on an artist's CV?
All of the above. if you've done anything, then you got something to put on your CV. What it really is a document that kind of gives well, it could be a chronological order, but it really just documents all the things that you've done in your time as a working artist. The CV gives us an idea of how long you've been doing it, what are the different types of things that you do, and have you gotten any awards? Have you been featured in the press? Did you go to school for this? If you didn't, that's fine. You don't have to necessarily go to school for art to be an artist. But folks want to see that you've done some work, that you've done something. If you've been featured in any special events, if you were the solo performer or the headliner of something, you definitely want to do that. I want to say, I see a question. Can you submit a portfolio instead? I would say submit the portfolio in addition to the CV. So if you have a CV that's kind of short, submit a portfolio. Like if you're a visual artist, definitely submit a portfolio. I mean, the application actually does ask for samples of your work. So you definitely want to do that. And oh, by the way, I made a template for y'all.
Ooh.
That long link that I just posted there in the chat is a free template that I did based off of my own CV to help you through that process, because I knew it was going to be an obstacle. I knew it. I just, something told me, you know what, some of these artists, they know they're awesome, but they haven't documented it. And when you see CV versus like resume, it does have a certain kind of, a certain understanding, a certain perspective around it, right? So I figured I'd make something to kind of help folks along the way, because I don't want that to be the obstacle that keeps you from applying, because the CV is not the primary criteria here for your acceptance into this program. Tarishi?
Oh, there it goes. Can an applicant, this might be a silly question, can an applicant be overqualified?
I feel like if you've already been working with organizations like this, then you probably don't need this program because you're already connected. Like if you've consistently done work with like a Bushnell, or if you're already in the collection at the Amistad Center or something like that, and you've done a number of projects with them, and you're on first name basis with like the executive director or something, like you might need to be a masterclass presenter, right? If you've been at this for 20 years and you've picked up quite a few awards and you've been published, and you got a Pulitzer, maybe this ain't for you. Maybe you're for them, right? But yeah, the level of experience of the artists, it really I'm looking for folks who are mid-career, folks who have been around for a little while. They may have accomplished a few things. Maybe they haven't accomplished what they think they needed to accomplish, but they're going to find out that they did by filling out this application and getting accepted, right? Those people who are looking to level up. If you're already at that level, then why apply for something like this? Let another person have that opportunity, because this is about development. And if you're in a position to develop other people, we can find other ways to work with you. So you don't remember the application having a place for sharing work. I could have swore it was on there. Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. I want to double check something. Oh, looks like you are correct. So, all right. So here's what we do. If you have work that you'd like to show off in this application, I am going to add that section. I thought I did. Thank you for pointing that out, because that's actually
man, you
very
got at least
important.
4 minutes. No, I'm kidding, bro. Dude,
Yeah, that's
I'm
very
kidding.
important. So, in the interest of your time, I'm not going to waste your time doing that now, but immediately after we end this conversation, I'm going to add that question to there. Yeah, sorry about that oversight.
Which one?
You talking to me? Okay, I guess not. All right, any other questions? Any concerns, any suggestions?
Just quickly, if we've already submitted, should we send you work samples?
I believe in the Google form, you can update your application. Like you can go back to it and edit. If you can't, let me know.
Okay,
Just give me until 8 o'clock to update the application form.
got it. Thanks.
No problem.
I just want to say I appreciate you taking the time out to kind of coach us through the process a little bit. Because my nerves were shot when I saw video submission.
It's no problem, and I hope to see your application. I look forward to reading it. I hope to see all of your applications, because it's 12 people on this Zoom. That means at least 11 people will have submitted, and that gets me beyond the 10-person mark, right? So we need more than 10. We need more than 20. Ideally, it would be 100. Make my job hard. Don't make it so easy for me to just look at these applications and be like, okay, we're going to push them through. No, be competitive about it. Tell your friends. Because the more interest there is in the application process, the more interest there is in having a program. That shows that there are people who are looking for this. So every part of this process contributes to continuing on with another cohort. And we want to keep this thing going so that we end up with that network of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and on. There's a lot of artists out here. This is one program. But also, as you complete the application, I actually put this in a post. Save all the answers to the questions in like a Word document, because now that becomes a package that you can use for other applications, for different programs that you can modify and, make the work easy on yourself. Don't let this be the only thing that you apply to. Let it just be one of many. And, I hope that you are all fortunate enough to get into something. If not this, I do hope to see you all at some point in this program as participants, and we can all have this experience together and talk about the ups and the downs and the accomplishments and all the success that we're going to have. And I look forward to collaborating with people. Anything else? You're welcome.
What date is the application due again? I'm sorry.
December 17th. December 17th. That is the due date for the application. So I've been pushing and posting this for almost a full month now. The 17th
I know. I was the one talking to Junk about the video.
17th is our day.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Anything else? All right. If there are no other questions, then we can adjourn. And again, I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy days to sit down and have a little conversation with me. I appreciate the level of interest that you're showing in the Artists of Color Accelerate Fellowship, and I look forward to reading all of your applications.